Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I just got back from my day out. Oh, you want me to tell you about my day? Oh, well, I'd never be more happy to do that. Huh? You want me to tell you in English? Oh, that won't do. I'll tell you in French. What? You don't know French? Ugh, I guess I'll just have to teach you. To tell you about my day, I'm gonna tell you about French past tense. To tell you about my day, I'll start with Passe Composé. Passe Composé is one of the past tenses in French. It's about things that have started and ended in the past, things that are completely over and done with. There are two ways to use Passe Composé, with être or with avoir. Let's start with avoir. To use Passe Composé with avoir, it's really simple. You first just want to conjugate avoir like you normally would, and then add past participles. Now, these are just regular verbs. An ER verb, an RE verb, and an IR verb. To make them past participles, you're going to drop those endings, and you're going to add an E with an accent, a U, and an I. Now, these will be the same for all ER, RE, and IR verbs. But just like everything in French, not everything follows the rules, so there's always going to be some irregular past participles like Now for some examples. Je mangeais du pain. I ate the bread. Tu finis mon pain. You finished my bread. Ils ont vendu mon pain. You sold my bread? Why did no one tell me? So there's a little crash course in Passe Composé avec avoir. Now, let's try être. Now, every single verb in the French language is going to use avoir for Passe Composé, except these verbs. Now, these verbs are a lot. They're lots of words, lots of things, lots of IRs, ERs, and REs. So there's this handy-dandy little acronym that you can use to help you remember. Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp. Now, Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp, of course, stands for Now that might be hard to remember at first, but you'll get there. Être Passe Composé is very similar to avoir Passe Composé, except it requires extra work. That's a good way to remember it. Être needs extra. It's your pretty standard French nonsense. If it's plural, you gotta add an S. If it's feminine, you gotta add an E. If it's plural and feminine, guess what you gotta do? Add an E and an S. Now, when you're adding all this extra stuff to past participles and you have to remember when to add it, it can get a lot more confusing than Passe Composé with avoir, so you might need more practice on Passe Composé avec être. Now that's Passe Composé. Now let's get into imparfait. Imparfait is really simple. Instead of it being things that have happened and aren't happening anymore and are done with, it's more like setting a scene of the past, or reoccurring things that you used to do. For example, I always used to drink orange juice. I would say that imparfait is closer to conjugation than it is to Passe Composé. To do l'imparfait, you have to find the present tense new form of the verb. After that, you have to drop that ending that you just added onto that new form and add one of these endings. So, let's try it. Je vais à l'école. I go to school. Now because the verb there is aller, you want to find the new form of aller, which is nous allons. Drop that ending, which is ONS, and then you have nous allons. So then you want to add that ending that we saw over here. And because it's the je form of the sentence, you want to add an AI and an S. So then you're left with j'allais à l'école. I used to go to school. So there you have it. See, French past tense isn't as hard as it's cracked up to be. So now that you know French, I can finally talk about my day. J'ai mangé le petit déjeuner. Je buvais du thé. Je suis allé au café. Je suis allé à mon maison. Thank you for joining me today. Now you know French past tense. Au revoir.